so happy this guy earned himself a medical degree after working for a rich, idiotic man child.
Oh, Mr. Majesty, they're not penguins.
Oh, I love it!
Hey guys, my name's Dan, and today's reaction comes from Dead Meat. This is Pontypool 2008 kill count. Now, this is a very strange horror movie, not really one I'm used to watching. I'm really curious to see how this movie came together, where the idea of it came from, what James has to say about it, and just how many kills are going to be on this kill count, because I don't think there's going to be very much. So before we get into it though, if you enjoy other Dead Meat videos, I've reacted to many of them for you to enjoy. And if you want to see future reactions that I do, you can go right below this video, click that like button, the subscribe button, and ring notification bell, because not only does it give you access to past, present, and future reactions that I do, but also helps my channel out a ton. They can go on over and support Dead Meat if you haven't already. I'll leave a link to his channel down in the description. And without any further ado, let's go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies.
Shirt.
I'm James A. Janice, and today is Canada Day, so I'm celebrating by looking at Pontypool,
That's
a Canadian
that's why I figured he was going for this one.
Pontypool takes place in the actual town of the same name, an unincorporated village in southern Ontario. It's an interesting film, set entirely in one location with a limited cast. Stephen McHattie plays a radio announcer who's been relegated to small-town news after his shock jock behavior lost a higher profile position.
Full disclosure, whatever the consequence.
Disclosure, Grant. School closures.
Really? Am I?
School closures, that's what
really?
people need.
Pretty soon, disturbing reports start to filter in, and the radio crew finds themselves under lockdown as a verbal virus spreads outside. Pontypool is a movie centered around sound, between the radio station setting and the way its virus spreads. In fact, this is admittedly not the best movie for the kill count format, since so much of the action takes place off screen, and the first half of the movie looks the same a lot of the time. But it builds its setting expertly, and I love how the characters communicate. I think it's a cool, creative, eerie little movie that I'd love for more people to know about. That's why I'm covering it. Plus, like I said, it's Canada Day. It was either this or Ginger Snaps, and I don't feel like doing a trilogy right now. And sure, Cronenberg's always an option, but it's hard to pick just one of his. I settled on Pontypool because it's a single, simple, solid movie from our friends up north. Hopefully, you'll appreciate it as much as I do. And hopefully, you'll also appreciate this sponsorship transition presented by Raycon. Raycons.com/deadmeat to get 15% off your Raycon order today. Let's see how many people's lives are taken off the air and get to the kills. The movie begins with a syrupy studio name and the waveform of a handsome voice.
Mrs. French's cat is missing. The signs are posted all over town. Have you seen Honey? We've all seen the posters, but nobody has seen Honey the cat.
It's a humbling story for Grant Mazzy to report on. He's more used to talking about conspiracy theories.
Strange coincidences in the aftermath of the JFK assassination.
On a snowy Valentine's Day morning, Grant is headed to work when a woman slams on his window. She's speaking nonsensibly and disappears into the darkness, repeating his words.
Who are you?
Now, don't get offended that she didn't know who you are, Grant. He probably is. He's unhappy with his recent demotion to this small-town talk radio station. It takes some creamless Irish coffee just to get him going in the morning. To be fair, though, once he does get going, it's a pleasure to listen to his voice.
I'll be banging the drum for you all morning. I'm Grant Mazzy, and as always, I'll be taking no prisoners.
It's a great
Stephen
voice for
McHattie is
radio.
a veteran character actor, and it's great that he gets a leading role here. We saw him in Come to Daddy as an insidiously drunk father figure to Elijah Wood and his stupid haircut. Man, I love that movie, it rules. For this role, McHattie visited local radio stations in Toronto and based his radio voice on the people he heard. He was also hugely inspired by Lister Sinclair, the late host of CBC's show Ideas. Grant's sarcastic surliness is tolerated and reposted by producer Sydney Breyer, the woman who hired him. She seems to mostly like him. Mostly.
Okay, you know, Grant, the whole full disclosure shtick works better in a bigger context.
Well, actually, it's what got me fired.
Well, there's that too.
His antics are much more entertaining to technician Laurel Ann Drummond, an Afghanistan combat vet who seems to admire this airwave cowboy and his polemic nature.
I am trying to piss a few people off because that's how it's done. Simple as that.
These characters have very defined points of view and communicate clearly to each other. Lisa Howell gives just as good a performance as McHattie, and their excellent chemistry makes sense given that the two are married in real life. The first real report that breaks up the day's drudgery is word that a large crowd has gathered
outside the offices of Dr. John Mendez.
Their eyewitness is Ken Loney, married in real life.
Sorry about
the
that.
first real report that breaks up the day's drudgery is word that a large crowd has
Gathered outside the offices of Dr. John Mendez.
Their eyewitness is Ken Loney, their employee who reports from the Sunshine Chopper, which Sydney admits is just Ken's Dodge Dart parked at the top of a hill. But at least Ken cares about production value. He uses chopper sound effects and everything.
Oh, Jesus! It's an explosion of people! Oh my God!
Those horrifying noises aren't being faked by Ken, though. He says this crowd has burst through Dr. Mendez's office walls and are now trampling and murdering each other.
There's definitely fatalities here. Down there, people have just died, Grant.
And sure, later we'll hear that up to 75 people are dead, but I'm not counting them. We never saw them prior to their deaths, and unlike in the Final Destination movies or all those frickin' carries, we didn't see the deadly catastrophe on screen. There are multiple criteria. They hear as military vehicles, including real helicopters, show up on the scene, and then they lose communication with Ken. Quite concerning, considering Dr. Mendez's office is only 5 kilometers from the radio station. That's about 3 miles in freedom units. As Sydney tries to find actual facts that they can report on, Grant is hilariously forced to tread time speaking with a local performing family whose material is just super fucking racist, man.
It is a sacred trust to fill it with your blood.
Earsat's Osama there is played by Boyd Banks, who was in Jason X and my wife's favorite movie, American Psycho 2, All-American Girl. The other dude here is Tony Burgess, the writer of this screenplay and the 1995 novel upon which it's based, Pontypool Changes Everything. This whole Lawrence of Arabia bit is pretty weird, but I think it's making fun of how casually racist things were post 9/11. Plus, I love Grant's reaction when he's told he has to have them on the air.
Okay, fine. Let's do it. Let's find out how the fuck rehearsals are going in fucking Arabia. Come on, gang. Come on.
They finish, and before you're done saying, what the fuck, one of the kids in brownface starts acting kinda sus.
I can't remember how it ends. I can't remember how it ends.
And singing Deck the Halls incorrectly.
Pra, 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 pra.
No, it's fa la 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 la, dumb idiot. The weirdos leave, and
Seriously.
Sydney hooks up Grant with more eyewitnesses to the Dr. Mendez mob scene. One guy just screams and disconnects, a constable says the violent rioters kept repeating nonsensical phrases, and another report says that more swarms of people like this are spreading out to nearby towns. A BBC correspondent named Nigel Healing calls in to ask if these latest reports have anything to do with French-Canadian separatists. Sydney disregards the question as coming from an outsider of both their small town and their country.
Oh, fuck you, Nigel. He knows nothing.
They finally hear back from field reporter Ken Loney, hiding from the hordes after his trusty Dodge chopper broke down. He mentions naked cannibals tearing people apart and eating them, even comparing the crowd to a school of piranha. This style of hear about, not see is both frugal and fun, and relies almost entirely on Rick Roberts' voice performance.
It's just how it looks, I guess, but it looks like these people are trying to climb or eat their way inside. They're so desperate, like they have to be inside.
The Ken call is interrupted by a blaring message in French that cuts into the radio signal. Laurel Ann translates it for Grant to read on air.
For your safety, please avoid contact with close family members.
The message says not to use affectionate terms such as honey or sweetheart. But how will I talk to my sweet little cinnamon bun baby cat? Since affectionate terms apparently create vectors for the virus, perhaps this local outbreak was started by the signs for Mrs. French's missing cat.
We've all seen the posters, but nobody has seen Honey the cat.
Also doesn't bode well for the radio station, given Sydney's preferred terms of endearment.
Okay, sweetheart, I'm gonna call Mrs. Tripp. Something's coming in on the radio.
Then again, according to this warning in French, they were gonna have a hard time no matter what.
For greater safety, please avoid the English language. Please do not translate this message.
Whoops-a-doodle. This
Whoopsie.
parallel theme of language is intentional, since Canada is officially bilingual, and there's been some, historical tension between the francophones and the anglophones. This movie shows those tensions erupting further under pressure, with the English guy on the BBC blaming French separatists, and this message in French only trying to help those who speak the language. Sydney gets word that Pontypool is now under quarantine, right as they get a call back from Ken Loney. He's had an encounter with a local large teenaged boy who broke in through the wall and is lying in front of him hurt. Strangely though, the kid does not sound like a teenaged boy. Yep, big boy making baby noises now. And also kind of sounding like a dial-up connection.
A little bit, yeah.
We hear the kid, identified as Jesse Galt, die over the phone, so I guess I'll include him because we heard his voice over the phone. That makes him like a quarter of a character at least, I think. Grant starts to buckle under how crazy all of this sounds, especially when Sydney says the BBC guy called back and asked them about Honey the cat.
You are fucking with me! You are fucking with my head! And you!
Why do you look so much like Anna Faris? I always thought Grant's freakout here was weirdly abrupt and extreme. Turns out it's because there was originally more to the scene. As written and shot, Grant looked down and hallucinated a tiny man in a fish hut.
He looks down at the floor. When he does this, you see him do that, looks down at the floor. And we had shot a scene where there's a guy in a fish hut that is about 8 inches tall, between his feet on the floor, who comes out of it.
That bit was cut on account of fucking weirdness, so what's left is a guy going Grant shit in 2 seconds flat. He tries to leave, Blizzard be damned, but they get trapped inside by a low-budget barrage of off-screen infected people who throw themselves at the door while repeating the things Grant and Sydney were just saying.
Okay, what's going on? Those are my words. Those are my words. What is going on?
Obviously, this is a very confined movie. It was shot with a small crew in a local church basement in just 15 days. Stephen McHattie said it felt more like doing a play than making a movie, which is actually how it originated. Initially, Burgess's novel was going to be adapted into a radio play, like Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. When it became a movie instead, they originally planned for it to be a single shot of Grant Mazzy in the radio booth. The other characters only ever heard, not seen. Eventually it expanded, but in a very cautious way. There were so-called border guards on the crew who made sure the film's perimeters didn't grow too wide. Disagreements were even had about whether to include the intro with Grant driving to work or a few quick shots of the loudspeaker on the exterior of the building. The goal was to keep things as claustrophobic as possible and rely on the audience's imaginations for the scares. The movie does give us a breath of fresh air outside the station when Grant goes back on the air with a live reading of the obituaries. He names local Pontypoolers who have gone crazy and killed each other, and I guess I'll count them as kills, at least for the people shown on screen. This is a very fine splitting of my rules. Grant names 28 people as dead, but only 20 are shown on screen. Since we see these 20 in video form, I'm counting them, but only them. The other 8 were non-characters who were never seen in any way. I don't count hearsay deaths or deaths of never-seen people reported on the news. This goes back to at least the It miniseries kill count, where I didn't count a kid reported as dead.
Richie overhears the television talking about the latest victim found in Derry, a 5-year-old little girl. Do I add her to the count or not? I'm gonna go with no because it's a news report. Sorry, no inflated statistics for you.
Again, multiple criteria. Anyway, this part of the movie is weird and experimental and gives us another cameo from writer Burgess, the guy standing in front of these sheep. Sydney and Laurel Ann are talking about their lives, Sydney's kids, Laurel Ann's time serving in Afghanistan, when all of a sudden, Laurel Ann starts speaking peculiarly.
I'm gonna go see if Mr. Mazzy's missing. Missing. Missing.
Uh-oh, you know that can't be good.
What honey is in the sound booth?
Aw, don't say honey, you're gonna make it worse.
Yep.
Laurel Ann becomes so infected so fast that after Sydney's tea kettle goes off, she finds Laurel Ann doing a mean impression of it. Damn, a soldier and a singer? What can't she do? All of a sudden, there's a dude climbing through the window. It's Dr. John Mendez, the guy from the news. Remember him?
I'm a doctor.
Oh shit, like my buddy Larry G.
I'm a doctor.
Also, I'm real happy this guy earned himself a medical degree after working for a rich, idiotic man child.
Oh, Mr. Majesty, they're not penguins.
Oh, I love it!
They're no penguin.
Mendez sees Laurel Ann
No
popping
penguin.
off and directs Sydney to the sound booth. That'll keep Laurel Ann from hearing their voices, which will only make her sickness worse. Mendez has first-hand experience with infected folk and wonders what'll happen when Laurel Ann is cut off from hearing sound. Oh, that'll happen. Her self-abuse is a creepy symptom of the virus, but it's a little undercut by Mendez's cheery reaction to the discovery.
Oh, she's rooting for voices. This will grow vicious.
Motherfucker, that's their friend. Don't snack while she self-destructs. Time for another call-in from our favorite field reporter, Ken Loney. He tries to update them about the crowds who keep repeating random phrases.
It's a symbol of the disorder.
A symbol of the disorder? You mean a symptom?
It's a symbol. I have a problem.
Ken loses his ability to think and speak clearly. In mere moments, all he can say are the words simple and sample over and over.
Simple, simple.
That's it. He's gone. This is what he is now. He's just a crude radio signal.
Ken then goes silent, dying over the phone. And I'll count it. It's the closest thing we've had to a regular death so far. I mean, we really knew Ken Loney. He drove a Dodge Dart.
Ken Loney was a pedophile. I mean, not really a pedophile. We just never let our kids go anywhere near him.
Oh, what the fuck? I guess we didn't know Ken Loney after all. Now Laurel Ann is even more messed up, looking like she's had too much strawberry bubblegum. Mendez explains that she's suffering from a novel virus, one that spreads through certain infected words. But it's not just about hearing or saying the infected words, it's also about understanding what they mean.
It enters us when we hear the word and we understand it.
It's a little hard to follow.
Yeah.
Are we talking about?
I don't know, lady.
I had that same reaction to what he had when he originally said he was just gonna like, what?
Mendez suggests that silence is the safest course of action, so they put some music on the radio and try to seal their lips. It works for about 3 minutes. Then Sydney gets a call from her kids and rolls out a buffet of honeys and sweethearts.
You know, she shouldn't be talking to anyone who calls. And no sweethearts, please. She should be breathing more. Breathe.
Look what you did, Sid.
Oh,
The
no.
doctor's repeating words. Hope he doesn't wind up like Laurel Ann, who's still doing her best impression of a bug meeting a windshield, over and over and over again. It's messed up enough to break out the Walking Dead score.
Phone lines are dead.
The others watch from the sound booth as Laurel Ann, unable to hear any new sounds, erupts from the inside with a geyser of tomato soup. Apparently, this is what happens when the virus can't transmit itself through sound. How unfortunate. The radio station is suddenly overcome by infected people who have broken inside. Director Bruce McDonald and writer Burgess call the infected folk conversationalists and say they're basically cousins of zombies. The way they describe it, the virus has 3 stages to it. The first is getting stuck on an infected word and repeating it.
Missing.
Burgess was inspired to make the virus verbal from his degree in semiotics, the study of signs and symbols and their meanings. The second phase is when your language gets scrambled, preventing you from making any sense.
No, I'm missing Mazzy. I have to.
The third and most fatal stage is when you become so distraught, the only solution you can think of is trying to physically chew your way through the mouth of another person. We don't see that happen in this movie, but it was meant to be shown explicitly in a sequel that never materialized.
So they literally rip into the throat and upper body of a person.
Are we going to see that in Pontypool too?
Oh, I'm afraid so. I think that's going to happen.
They hide in the sound booth in the dark and resort to written communication. To lure the infected away, they decide to broadcast a distraction from the loudspeakers outside. And since the zombies will repeat what they hear, they decide to make it a message, telling other people they're here and need help.
Sydney Breyer is alive.
The plan works, luring the conversationalists outside. Maybe things will be okay for them.
We can breathe again.
No.
Well, probably not for that guy, though. Grant and Sydney notice Mendez repeating his words and are skeptical when he claims to have fixed himself by speaking in German.
It's only the English language that's infected.
They leave him in the booth, but still follow his advice, speaking broken French to each other just to be safe. Outside, they hear the Yakback zombies repeating their message, Sydney Breyer is alive, but it's not until they're upstairs that they have a face-to-face interaction with one of the sickies. It's Maureen, that little girl who was part of the racist sing-along.
Never desert is a sand-filled ear. If you fall off your camel, it cannot hear.
God, the racist singing wasn't even good. She attacks Sydney and tries to eat her way into her mouth, but Grant throws her into some Canadian Broadcasting Awards before he and Sydney stomp the girl to death just off screen. And of course, this is gonna be off screen. Ain't about to show a little girl getting stomped to death.
True.
Just when they think they're safe enough to debate what the best Nintendo console is.
Wait. Wait.
The lights go out. When they
Not
come
the
back
Wii.
on, "Oh Canada" is blaring from the loudspeaker. Too bad it's not the real Canadian anthem, Tom Sawyer. The commotion scares the doctor out of the sound booth and brings the droning conversationalists back inside the station. Mendez still has his wits though, and decides to risk his life to save Grant and Sydney's. He takes off in the same way he came in, and they hear him running away and yelling, getting the horde to follow his voice. Time passes via close-ups, including one of word magnets, which is nice and thematic. Real helicopter sounds are heard outside the station as we see two bodies on a stairwell that I'll go ahead and count. Not sure who they are. Maybe infected folk who got trampled to death? Grant and Sydney are at the point where they're getting real drunk and writing confessions on the wall. Sydney seems to have given up entirely, slurring her words in English and telling Grant they're not gonna figure anything out. But Grant may have figured something out based on what Mendez said to them earlier.
He said that understanding a word copies the virus. How do you not understand a word?
He wonders how you can make a word not make sense anymore, and he'd better find out how fast because Sydney starts repeating the word kill.
Okay. Sid. Sydney, I think you got an infected word. You're infected.
Grant tries to fix her by repeating the idea that kill isn't kill. It means something else, like wonderful or blue. He lands on kill is kiss and repeats it like a mantra.
Kill is kiss. Kill is kiss. Kill is kiss.
It ends up working, and Sydney is able to get her language under control. Kill me. Ooh, and her game. Nice one, Sid. Not a bad way to spend the end of the world, am I right? Grant realizes he's figured out the verbal vaccine, so he heads to the sound booth for a Hero Hour broadcast. He goes on air with the goal of confusing people about what words mean, as the noise of choppers, explosions, and gunfire outside grow louder and more frequent.
Happy is handy. Happy's handy. Move things around. People just move them around.
A French voice on a megaphone tells them to shut le fuck up, thinking that Grant's intentionally senseless broadcast is a sign that he's been infected. To be fair, this babble does sound like he and Sydney are playing a shitty improv warm-up game.
Swimming.
Tomorrow.
Fidelity.
Monologue.
Savage.
Sausage.
Yeah, might want to go ahead and firebomb them before they start asking the crowd for suggestions. The chaos reaches a fervor until the guns stop, maybe because everybody outside is dead. Grant gives a tidy end of movie speech backed by a swelling score.
Today's late-breaking, developing just across my desk news story is this. It's not the end of the world, folks. It's just the end of the day.
But his triumphant, defiant sign-off is met with a countdown from 10 in French. Sydney runs over to him as the numbers tick down, and then... Yeah, the movie ends, and I'ma count the two of them as dead. I'm assuming the government firebombed them to contain the virus. The credits feature audio reports that say the virus has spread to England, home of the carrier language. Then there's a confusing so-called gangster sushi hut post-credit scene. It features McHattie and Howell, but I don't know if they're playing different characters or if Grant and Sydney somehow survived by escaping to the Sin City universe via sexy roleplay.
My name.
My name too.
Johnny Deadeyes.
So weird.
Lisa the killer.
I don't know. How many people got killed by sharing too many words with friends? Let's find out and find her to find. Let's find out and finally find.
Find?
Let's finally find her.
No!
Find.
James!
Finally find her.
James!
Find.
No!
Finally find.
No! No, you're...
Finally,
no!
Finally find
No!
her.
You're
Finally
infected!
Finally
James!
find.
No!
Fuck!
No! Oh.
It was a weird count, but I had 28 people killed in Pontypool. It came out to 12 males, 15 females, and an unknown arm in the stairwell. Obviously, this movie had way more off-screen than on-screen deaths, but also interesting is how many of the deaths were little kids. Interesting in an unusual way, not in a way that should put me on a list.
No!
The runtime was 96 minutes, leaving us with a kill on average every 3.21 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Laurel Ann. That spew got a big ew from me, and also kind of reminded me of something I might see in Scary Movie. But again, might be because of Georgina Riley's resemblance to Anna Faris. Dol Machete for lamest kill will go to the people in the obituaries. I didn't want to count them, but I felt obligated by the kill count rules as I have tried my best to establish and follow. And that's it. Pontypool came out in 2008. In 2019, director Bruce McDonald made a spin-off / spiritual successor called Dreamland, which I have never seen. An actual sequel has been discussed, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. Until next time, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count.
On the next Kill Count.
Well, howdy, partner. It's been years since we've seen that big baby boy Leatherface, and boy has age caught up to him. He's now a 60-something-year-old man.
He needs special care. He doesn't do well outside, you understand that?
But if you think that's gonna stop him from killing kids who get all up in his property, well, if I got a sauna in San Antonio to sell you.
And sold to Candace Brady of Brady's Brunch. I love brunch.
2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a requel of sorts, doing the whole legacy character and ignoring the sequels thing.
It's him, isn't it? Leatherface.
It's also real dumb.
Try anything and you cancel, bro.
I mean, Leatherface winds up on a live stream.
What the fuck is happening?
But it's dumb fun. Oh, and short as hell, too. Perfect for a summer slasher you can turn your brain off to. Sure. See for yourself by watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Netflix this week.
I don't like people telling me what to do.
Then on Friday, tune in for the Kill Count, only on Dead Meat.
Everyone is super excited. You guys did a great job promoting this.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre can currently be watched on the
Good stuff. All right, so as far as this was concerned, I thought it was a little weird, and there were certainly some things that I didn't really understand, but now watching this Kill Count and learning some things through James, I definitely got a better understanding of what exactly was going on and appreciated this film a little more. This is certainly not my cup of tea as far as horror movies are concerned because, you know, I like seeing the kills happen in front of me and we only really see one here. Well, I mean, technically there was a second one where they were like stomping, but you didn't really see that happen. You only saw with the girl when she just smacked into the wall and just puked blood everywhere. So that's going to do it for me here. But before I go, though, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my $5 and up supporters on Patreon. Marvin Espinoza, Cruising, Wolverine 310, Multi-Disturb 666, Jordan Bird, Lauren Davenport, Capster Cronage, Amber K, Raymond Bright, Joshy, Chris Curtis, Angel Centillon, Gaga Di Chima, and brand new Patreon supporter, Santiago. Thank you guys so much. And if you too like to have your name read at each and every one of my videos, plus many other fun goodies, maybe have me react to a past kill count or two, please head on over to patreon.com/Reactor. Link will be right there in the description. Right below this video, click that join button there, or head right over my channel page and click that join button there. And if you want an easier way to get in contact with me that isn't leaving a comment below this video, you can go on over and join the channel Discord where you can chat about different videos that I've made or find out a little more about me. And with that being said, comment down below, let me know what did you think about Pontypool. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Also want to see past reacts and I've done other Dead Meat videos. Got a nice playlist right over there full of them for you. Share this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, ring notification bell because I put new videos every single day. And I'll see you guys next time.